Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. Today's video is going to be absolutely insane because we're gonna go into detail about a kidnapping that has shocked an entire city. This case still has not been solved, so it's definitely gonna leave you with more questions than answers. The case we're talking about today is the case of Erica Parsons. Erica was born on December 1995 in Atlanta, Georgia. She grew up with her parents and her two younger brothers. Her mother worked as a nurse and her father worked as a businessman. They were considered very wealthy, but even with all of that money, they had no idea what was about to happen. In September of 2013, Erica was a senior at her local high school. She was described as a straight-A student who was involved in several extracurricular activities. She was also very beautiful and very social. On Friday, September 6, 2013, Erica decided to skip school with some of her friends. She was caught skipping school on surveillance footage, but she would never be seen again. On Monday morning, September 9, 2013, Erica never showed up to school. At first, her parents weren't too worried because she had skipped class before and they knew she would always show up eventually. But this time was different. She didn't show up after spending 2 days missing. Her parents started to get worried, so her mother posted on Facebook asking for her daughter's whereabouts. She also filed a missing persons report with the police. When the police investigated Erica's disappearance, they found something strange. Her cell phone was found abandoned near her house. Also, her wallet, keys, and glasses were all found inside of her bedroom. It didn't seem like she had been kidnapped, so they assumed she had run away. But there was a problem. When her parents went to their daughter's room to comfort her, they found something terrible. All of her clothes had vanished from her closet. So she didn't plan on returning home. But why? Over the next few days, hundreds of people participated in search parties looking for Erica. But she was nowhere to be found. Then, 5 months after Erica's disappearance, a hunter discovered something terrifying deep in the woods. It was a pair of little girls' shoes. And, to make matters worse, these little girls' shoes matched the exact size of Erica's younger brother. And, right down the road from where the shoes were found, investigators found human bones. These bones were sent off to be analyzed, but they would never come back with any answers. Erica Parsons would never be seen again. At first, everyone assumed that Erica had been kidnapped and taken out of the country, but as the years passed by, they started losing hope. Her parents continued searching for answers, and they even offered a $25,000 reward for any information regarding their daughter's disappearance. But the most bizarre part of all of this was that the police never even suspected the people closest to Erica. They had a whole theory of what happened to her, but it didn't involve her parents. The police believed that Erica was hanging out with some bad people. Her parents weren't exactly thrilled about her dating life, so she may have run away to avoid her parents' wrath. But, as we said, this was a wealthy family. Erica had everything she could have ever wanted. There was no reason for her to run away. She wasn't being abused or anything like that. The police just couldn't understand why anyone would want to hurt her. But when 2018 rolled around, everything changed. In 2018, Erica's adoptive parents, Timothy and Antoinette Parsons, had their house searched by the police. They were hoping to find some sort of evidence that could lead them to Erica. But instead of finding evidence, they found a crime scene. It was like stepping into one of those crime scene investigation shows. There was blood spatter everywhere. Blood was found on the walls, the floors, the cabinets, and even on the doors. Even more disturbing, the blood tested positive for Erica. But how did her blood get there? Why did her parents kill her and then let her body rot for 5 years? After they were arrested, Timothy and Antoinette told police that Erica had run away from home and that she had nothing to do with their daughter's death. But the evidence told a different story. You see, when the police searched the couple's house, they found over 20 garbage bags filled with Erica's belongings. They found her jewelry, her watches, her shoes, her coats, everything except for her pants. It seemed like the couple was trying to clean up their house to sell it and move away. Timothy and Antoinette were charged with concealing a death and giving false statements. But because Erica's body had not been found, they could not be charged with murder. For weeks, the police interrogated the couple, but they refused to tell them where Erica's body was located. They even agreed to take the police to a remote cabin in the woods, but it turned out to be a bust. The police found nothing. But the case went cold again until Timothy and Antoinette's lawyer decided to make a deal with the police. If Timothy and Antoinette told the police where Erica's body was, they would try to reduce their charges. This was probably the best decision that the lawyer could have made because if he hadn't, things were about to get much worse. On February 2, 2019, Timothy and Antoinette led the police to a shallow grave in the woods behind their home. They were both crying as they walked towards the grave. It was obvious that they felt awful for what they had done. After the grave was dug up, Erica's remains were brought back to the lab for identification. Unfortunately, it would be another 3 months before they got the results. But when they did, the results confirmed that it was indeed Erica. The news of Erica's remains being found spread throughout the community like wildfire. Everyone was shaken to their core. No one could believe that Erica had been living right alongside them all this time, and none of them knew. It was finally time to get justice for Erica, but it came at a price. Because Erica's body was found, Timothy and Antoinette were finally charged with murder. But here's the thing. They had managed to make a really good case for themselves. Their lawyer argued that while they did conceal her body, it was because they had found Erica dead in their home. They didn't kill her. That was an accident. On top of that, Timothy and Antoinette had no criminal record. They had volunteered at church and had even hosted youth groups. They were seen as pillars of the community, people you would expect to go to church on Sundays. So the question is, what could have possibly possessed them to do such a thing? As it turns out, the couple had killed Erica 3 years prior in an act of discipline. Yes, you heard that right. They actually claimed that Erica's death was an accident, and that it occurred during a spanking. According to Timothy and Antoinette, Erica was a wild child and she liked to stay out late with her friends. They would always argue with her about it, but she would never listen. On the night of September 6, 2013, Erica had stayed out way too late and her parents were furious. When she got home, they started spanking her, but she kept taunting them, which made them angrier. According to Timothy and Antoinette, they lost control and beat Erica to death. But you might be thinking, why didn't they call 911? Well, according to Timothy and Antoinette, they called 911, but they hung up on the operator. They panicked and then thought of a plan. They wanted to cover up the murder, so they took Erica's body, wrapped it in blankets, and then drove around with it for hours. Eventually, they brought her back home and hid her body in a spare bedroom. When the police searched their house, they had already gotten rid of all of the evidence. So that's why they didn't find anything at first. Now, as you can imagine, the public was furious about this. How could a couple get away with murder for so long? Why didn't the police find her sooner? And how could someone get away with killing a child? As of today, Timothy and Antoinette are awaiting trial. They are currently being held without bail. Now, we don't know what's going to happen to them, but rest assured, whoever is found guilty will spend the rest of their life behind bars. Now, before we end this video, we want to ask you a question. What do you think of this case? How could a couple get away with murder for so long? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a big thumbs up. We truly appreciate when you do. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you're always the first to know when we upload a new video. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.